Kegel exercises are simple clench and release exercises that make the muscles of the pelvic floor stronger. Kegel exercise can be done anytime and anywhere in the privacy of your home or while waiting in line at the bank. Joining us to further understand this is a physiotherapist, Oluwaseun Fasomi. Thanks for joining us, Oluwaseun.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Now, talk to us. What is Kegel exercise?
All right. Kegel exercises are the exercises that you do to strengthen the pelvic floor. So, the pelvic floor is basically the pelvic floor muscle is basically the muscles that support the abdominal and the reproductive organs. So we have the uterus, we have the bladder, the bowel, and the like. So the pelvic floor muscles are the muscles that hold them in place. So when you are strengthening the pelvic floor, the exercise is referred to as Kegel. So just the way you strengthen your biceps, the way you strengthen your leg muscles. So it's just the same way for the pelvic floor muscles. Just that when you are doing that, you refer to it as Kegels. And of course, there are other forms of exercises for the pelvic floor. Just that when you are strengthening, it's Kegels. When you are doing another form of exercises, maybe relaxation or other forms of exercises, it's not Kegel, but for strengthening, it's Kegel. So Kegel exercises is simply what you do to strengthen your pelvic floor muscles.
All right, so why is this exercise necessary?
All right, Kegel exercises are very important because, especially for a woman, of course, men too can do Kegel exercises, but most importantly for a woman, because the woman goes through pregnancy. The woman goes through childbirth. So this pregnancy and childbirth, what it does is that it puts a lot of pressure on the pelvic floor. You know, like I said earlier, that the pelvic floor muscle is actually what holds those organs in place, including the uterus. So during pregnancy, childbirth, there's so much pressure on the pelvic floor that can make them weak. In fact, aside from making them weak, they can become injured during childbirth or during pregnancy. So it's important to do Kegel exercises to be able to strengthen those muscles post-delivery, during pregnancy as well, so that these muscles can regain their strength. You know, for during pregnancy, you strengthen to maintain the strength of the pelvic floor and to prepare the woman for delivery. Now, post-delivery, you have to also keep strengthening to restore the power that has been lost during delivery. So in order to be able to keep those organs in place, in order to be able to maintain the function, because you know I said that the pelvic floor muscles hold the bladder, the bowel in place. So if the pelvic floor muscles are weak, that's when you see people come down with symptoms like urinary incontinence. That's when there's leakage of urine, or the woman cannot hold her urine or cannot control her urine. You can have fecal incontinence. That's you cannot control your bowel. So it can be as a result of the pelvic floor muscles being weak, or there's a dysfunction with the pelvic floor muscles. So what the Kegel does is to help restore that function by strengthening the pelvic floor muscle. So it's very important. It's very important for a woman in her reproductive age. It's very important for pregnant women. It's very important for women who have had delivery, whether vaginal or cesarean section, to be able to restore the function of the pelvic floor, so that there won't be it will reduce the woman's risk of having pelvic floor dysfunction in the future. Even if not now, in the future, the woman can still present with pelvic floor dysfunction if there's an issue with the pelvic floor muscle. So it's very important.
All right, at this point, I'd like us to talk about pelvic organ prolapse. You know, what are the risk factors? What's that about?
Okay, when it comes, pelvic organ prolapse is actually an example of a pelvic floor dysfunction, as an example of a condition that can occur when a woman has pelvic floor dysfunction. And what happens in pelvic organ prolapse is that the organs, the visceral organs, that's the uterus, usually the uterus now, has moved from its normal position, right? Has moved down from its normal position. That's why it's called prolapse. So there's a descent of the pelvic organ. It can be the uterus, it can be the rectum, it can be the vagina. So anyone, right? So that organ has moved from its normal position and has moved out of the position. So you can begin to see it at the vaginal opening. That's what happens. And usually a lot of factors predispose a woman to this condition, but the highest culprits right? The most significant of them all is actually having a woman who has been pregnant or a woman who has had multiple vaginal delivery. It's actually the highest risk factor. But other circumstances can also predispose a woman to it. Like you've mentioned aging. The reason is that when a woman is growing old, when a woman is getting old, there's an hormone in the body of a woman that is called estrogen. Now, as we get older, the estrogen level in a woman's body starts decreasing, it depletes. So as a result of this, and what the estrogen does when it comes to the body musculature is that it allows the formation of collagen. Collagen are what holds the muscles together. So when a woman is getting old, the estrogen level decreases and the collagen synthesis, that production of collagen, also decreases. So the body is prone to having muscle weakness, including the pelvic floor muscles. So when the woman is getting old, like post menopause, right? So what happens is that she has an increased chance of developing a pelvic organ prolapse, coupled with the fact that she has had multiple delivery, coupled with the fact that maybe those deliveries were via vaginal delivery. So those things add up to make a woman be predisposed to pelvic organ prolapse. Also other things like smoking and the likes. But the truth is that it can actually be prevented and it can be reduced to the barest minimum. A woman can reduce her chances of developing pelvic organ prolapse by engaging in Kegel exercises. So that is the importance of Kegel exercises. So when a woman of a reproductive age can begin doing Kegel exercises, you don't have to wait till when you are pregnant or when you have delivered to start doing Kegel exercises. You can start as early as your 20s, 30s, just to work on your pelvic floor muscles. And more importantly, when you are pregnant, you need to keep doing Kegel exercises to prepare those muscles for the pressure that they're going to experience during delivery and while the uterus is growing, while the baby is growing in the womb. So it's very important to do those exercises. Also, too, after delivery, maybe you are already done with delivery, you don't want to have any more children and the likes. You still need to engage in pelvic floor exercises, that's Kegel exercises, because there are some symptoms that might occur after delivery. And the truth is that a lot of women might not talk about it. Some people after delivery, they might begin to have leakage, that's urinary incontinence. They might realize that they cannot control their urine as they used to before they delivered their baby. So for some people, it might be just leakage. It might not be a major, it's just a leakage, and it can happen maybe when they cough, when they sneeze, when they laugh. They can just see that, okay, they've leaked urine. Or it could be urge, because that one is what is referred to as the stress incontinence, meaning that any stressful activity that you do, what happens is that you begin to leak urine, right? For some people, it might be the urge incontinence. It might be the fact that they just have this strong and sudden urge to want to urinate, but before they get that, they've leaked urine already. So they cannot really control. They cannot control it they cannot delay their voiding. So those are the symptoms that can occur after delivery, or that can occur in the future. Even if it doesn't occur immediately after your delivery, it can still occur in the future, because there are different grades to this. Sometimes when you get to like grade 3 or grade 4, you can actually see that your uterus is outside of your vagina, right? In some people. So what Kegel exercises will do is to help correct. So Kegel exercises can be used to actually restore the pelvic floor to help the person recover from such condition. But the thing with pelvic organ prolapse is that not all pelvic organ prolapse like this, it has severity, right? So we have the grade 0, grade 1, grade 2, 3, and 2. Strengthening alone would not be enough to put that organ back into the position. So that kind of patient would require a surgery to hold the organ back in place. But for a grade 1 and grade 2, Kegel exercises is very important to restoring that structure back to the anatomical position, because what happens is that the pelvic floor muscle that is weak, you strengthen it so that it's able to hold that organ, it's able to hold it in its position.